Welcome back to the absolute most professional StarCraft 2, where I'm always going to be excited to introduce the player in the blue, the #1 Terran in the world, the Frenchman from Team Liquid. It's Clem. But his nemesis, opposite him, considered by many to be the greatest of all time in StarCraft 2. The current rank 1. It is, of course, the finisher, Serral. A best of 5. Terran versus Zerg. A matchup we've seen before, and I'm always excited to see again. And now we need to see where those drones are going. Serral? Well, starting off strong. Serral taking the gold base, looking to maximize those early minerals almost as much as I like to maximize those early likes and subscribes. Jimmy, what are we at? Quickly. What? 1,215 likes on this video, on this cast, on this bleeding edge experience, and I'll cast another series, and I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I would do with my life, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and well, it's Clem versus Serral, so I hope it's about to get a little bit better as these two battling it out for the final spots at DreamHack Atlanta, the final tournament of 2023, and oh my god. Just no more silly introductions, no more filler. Clem is filling the gap in between the bases with a bunker. Serral is going for a roach rush, probably throwing some Ravagers in. It appears this is kind of just a direct response to the gold base. He's obviously not going to be able to do much with it, especially once the roaches come out. Almost gets the Reaper, and if he gets the Reaper, that kind of invalidates the whole bunker idea. Feel like Serral has anticipated this to some extent. He hasn't seen the bunker. His drone's, of course, under attack. Reapers coming in from both sides. Looking, still not finding first kill. Wait, no, the SCV died first. All right. But the SCV building the bunker did not. The bunker is complete. 5 roaches on the way. And the reactor is in the right spot in order to block out the Zerglings for now. The roaches will shrug off. I think just now realize... Oh my god. Clem just dodging the hits. The roaches... Oh. Well, if you simply just don't get hit, they can't hit you. Thank you, Clem, for your wisdom. Now, just don't get hit. Meanwhile, though, the Zerglings might get the reactor, which would actually be... Nope. Just don't lose it. Just repair. And among another few thousand things Clem does in the first few minutes of the game that make him almost unattainable to us mere mortals, well, a whole bunch of Ravagers are headed across the map. Serral starting things off strong on Equilibrium, looking to make the series a little more balanced towards him, as this is a tougher map for Zerg as time goes on and the medevacs start flying. So Serral's decided we just circumvent that entirely. Queen Brenda bounced over to the side. The drone dodges with a spore. Some casually top-tier micro to start things off, but a dramatic push from Serral. It's 4 Cyclones. The glass cannons can micro back. Already lost 1. Corrosive Bile zones him off the ramp. The Reaper still working on the other side. Oh, dodges as the Corrosive Biles land, but right after it technically connects. Chipping away at the roach count, but a lot of the SCVs are going to be vulnerable. Overlord coming in to help provide high ground vision. And another roach going to be picked off, but the Cyclones don't work well in tight spaces. Now, with the high ground vision, the Ravagers are able to take out some of the clones. SCV, Citizen's Arrest on the Ravager over to the left side. More Cyclones working through. Serral, well, losing a lot of his Ravagers. But at the same time, Clem, he's lost 9 SCVs. He lost all of his Cyclones. Does he have a 3rd command center up there? He does? He does. Okay. So when you have a 3rd CC, you're never dead. But there's still 2 Ravagers, and nothing to really directly deal with them. Another Cyclone's about to pop up. If he actually gets the orbital, that's not going to happen. Gets a Marine. Serral using every single unit for what it's worth. But somehow, Clem holds. Gonna use 1 SCV to repair. Doesn't save any minerals on that, just, you know, the rest could be mining. Serral has already taken his natural behind. Clem's direct bunker response, I think, underestimated Serral's commitment. Serral rarely goes for any sort of outright cheese. And even then, I wouldn't necessarily call that cheese, as it's still one of those strategies that even if you see it early on, doesn't mean you're going to be able to hold it cleanly. As Serral chose his plan well, the gold base wasn't scouted quick enough for Clem to really tailor. You'd have to scout it with that first SCV pretty much in order to directly tailor a response. But with 3 command centers, you can bounce back economically very quickly. Is it quickly enough, though? Clem with a few mules. And Serral has roach speed and Zergling speed on the way. He barely had anything outside of the gas for the roaches and ravagers. Clem is spinning up his production. Usually you see 3 barracks, a factory, and a starport. That's about as much as you can support on 2 bases. But 3 bases allows you to go up to 5 racks, maybe a second factory or second starport. Continue getting those upgrades. That 50, 60 SCVs is when you really want to ramp things up. The same as 60 to 75 or so drones. Usually middle ground for roaches, a little bit more for lings overall. But wow, Serral has just expanded that creep spread. But the creep spread doesn't matter. The medevacs head straight towards the main. Well, it helps the roaches come back a little more quickly. And Clem's Marines are deadlier than any other. Just going to keep the roaches anchored back at home. All but 3 of them. Enough to one-shot SCVs. Proven there. Scamper away just as road speed finishes. Clem doesn't care. He's going to hunt them. We really going to micro 3 Marines against 2 roaches right now? Why am I being so? Clem, the only Terran player with more APM than Zergs. And you can really see it as the games go on. Not yet. We haven't had the opportunity yet, but I am quite confident that we will see many reasons to raise an eyebrow or two at how effective Marines are, especially when combined with medevacs by the end of this series. If I know my Serral versus Clem. At the same time, though, a lot of Serral is just efficiency. I've made the kind of mediocre joke before that Serral is like the senior accountant of Zergs. He just knows where the numbers should go and exactly when and why. It's like getting your taxes done quickly. You're not excited about it, but you're happy it's over with. And that is Serral's macro in a nutshell. He's not going to miss his injects. He's not going to miss his creep spread. He's going to have overlords in place to spot your medevac drop, and he's going to have units ready to respond. And it's only when you can tax that multitasking that maybe he looks mortal. Putting the Evo chamber out there like a sore thumb. Clem comes in and unleashes a hail of bullets to chop it off. Losing +1 melee attack. He's getting Vipe, by the way, just rushing to Hive. Despite all the back and forth, Serral's nearly maxed out. He's got a Hive done. Viper's on the way. The upgrades are lacking, partially because of Clem here. But another drop. I want to actually head, for a moment, to the Clem action cam, aka Clem's view, or the best we have of it. And heading towards the north side, making sure he's not supply blocked. Adding out another base. And also rallying to the gold. Oh, setting it up. Baneling's coming in. Boosting away. And negating the drop while setting up his own. Or the run by rather. And not even much going on there. A slow moment for Clem. Alright, Banelings. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. The Marine eats a couple Bane hits. Clem at 1-1 going on 2-2, but Serral has Ultralisks, well, at least chitinous plating in production. He's got money starting to bank up. He's got drones across all his bases, but Clem now taking the gold base of his own. He saved it for later. And definitely a helpful income boost as we reach the later game. Only 10 minutes in. And already, Tier 3 online. Blinding Cloud. Gonna yank a couple tanks down into the Roach Ravager. Banelings rolling through. That is no planetary fortress yet. A lot of Banelings connecting with the Marines, but not enough left over to kill the planetary. Who's flanking who here? Clem's on all sides. A Liberator. There's nothing left on the Vipers. Clem's Marines standing their ground, but here comes another group of Zerglings. The medevac count is so damn high, but there's just no Marines left to heal. He's got 9 Marines. 13 Marines for 9 medevacs here. As the Marines are swept off the field, Ultralisk will refill. The one thing we're missing, well, the Serral Fester. Deserving of its own title, as Serral seems to be the only player who's able to reliably make the Infestor work. A burrowed Infestor to hold down those Marines, those tanks, and later on, most importantly, those Ghosts. So that way, you can roll the Lings and Banes and knock them out. Otherwise, they're just so slippery and almost impossible to get a hold of. Like right there. Just a split second out of the scan. Incredible Widowmine hit, but countered on the other side by a Fungal and a Baneling combo. Absolute devastation for both sides. 45 Zerglings go down. I think almost entirely to that Widowmine. As well as Serral catching some Widowmines himself. 5, 9 Marines, and a Marauder. So Clem, oh my god, dodging the corrosive vial with the mines, of course. Ultralisk at point-blank range, the Blinding Cloud, the Banelings, and the Planetary's taken out. But the Ghosts line up a double kill onto the Vipers. The most valuable units in the army, Changelings to block him out! Oh my god! Serral, straight out of a Carbot sketch. Serral uses the Changelings to lock him in, but Clem's reinforcements are enough to push forward. 150 to 190 supply. Serral has not been slowed on the other side. That's the problem. The tide has not gone out. The wave has receded, but another one will replace it. If Clem is not able to slow Serral's momentum, he will just keep throwing units at him, and eventually he'll grind him down. The income isn't there for Clem. Every once in a while, he's able to drop enough mules to get close, but he's losing map control now. A few Liberators headed out. Serral still has money in the bank. Roach is burrowing. Clem is still bottled up. Another incredible Widowmine hit. But there's more than enough Zerglings to spare. Here comes Clem. Drilling Claws. More mines will burrow. Most of them being negated or drawn out. Minimal damage. The Ultralisks are closing in. Clem's army not looking like enough here. The Ultras are almost on top of the Ghosts. They'll get behind the lines. But now the mineral line itself. A few Banelings interrupt the snipes. And Serral in a convincing fashion. After that early cheese, that early pressure, easily and swiftly and smoothly transitions into an overwhelming late game. Clem could not keep control of the map. And even though his micro is good, Serral's macro seems to be better. Game 1 goes to the finisher. But Clem, I don't think I'm going to be too worried about that one going in to game number 2 on hard lead. This map, more than any other, I think, is one as a Terran player. You can really assert yourself. This is the last 2 times they faced on this map, Clem has won. And in somewhat convincing fashion, even though Serral ended up winning both series. So, we'll see if Serral has something planned for us early on. Or, if he ends up... Well, if he ends up just dragging it to the mid-game. I can't remember the last time I've seen Serral do that early Roach pressure. It is map dependent. You've got the rich Vespine Geyser, which gives you the extra boost of gas for just a few drones. But now that he's put it on the table, I like that for most players who aren't Serral, it's a very regular thing. You throw a cheese or kind of, you know, a spicy strategy in. So that way, and Clem SCV scouting. Not all Terrans SCV scout. That is another one of my many pet peeves. If you watched enough, you'll know there's quite a list. But not SCV scouting. Well, in this case, Clem not only wants to scout, he's expanding, but he wants to deny his third. So he's kind of combining it with that. But there are plenty of Terrans out there, beyond, who simply will not scout until maybe the first Reaper comes across the map. And 2 out of 3 games, that gives you an advantage. You have a few more minerals. 1 out of 3 games, maybe you're behind or outright lose. So, at the end of the day, that's a gamble that Clem isn't taking. He's brought the SCV here to block the 3rd base and just make it that much more difficult for Serral. Like, Clem is building a 3rd command center right now. Meanwhile, Serral can't even take his 3rd. Queen bounced around. SCV hanging out. Reaper gonna join it. The drone will peck away at it, but... Okay, well... And the grenade. He's actually body blocking the hatch location. And that's... Oh my god, he gets the drone. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Oh, I hate it. It's beautiful. I can't. I mean, I can believe it, but... Not much Serral can do. I mean, just trying to zone out with the queens, but... With literally perfect Reaper micro. Oh, the places you'll go. 18 Zerglings on the way. That is a committed number from Serral. 22-24. He wants to get something done. This is not just kill your Hellions or make sure you don't run by. This is run into your natural, ideally your main, and try to win the game sort of Zerglings. You see Serral trying to sneak out. I don't know if Clem noticed it, if he got eyes on it. I don't think he did, but there is a Banshee on the way, and that's a huge deal. The Banshee, obviously a solid oh, here come the Zerglings. Clem retreats to the little mineral pocket there, brings the wall up. So the SCVs, wait, he lets them in order to keep more. So if he loses less than 9 SCVs, this is still, oh my god. 7, okay. Yeah, there's still a couple in the mineral line and a few more Zerglings getting in. If he had left them at the natural, it would have been most of the SCVs, if not all, dying at the natural. He lets them in an attempt to kind of control the damage. But I think it ended up being a little worse than it could have been. 10 SCVs down. Remember, that costs a lot of the larva and the money that Serral has early on. Building 24 lings means you delayed at least 12 drones. So definitely not without cost for Serral, but getting 10 SCVs and dragging all the units back, I think that's a win overall. He also, of course, got a full scout that Clem was doing pretty much exactly what he expected. 1-1-1, Cloak Banshee, adding on some more racks later on, but that's not going to come as a surprise. Now, hatchery, the Queen. Brenda! Why are we so slow? Did you bring... Oh my god, we didn't even bring detection, Terran! I told you how many times... Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. Looks like the Banshees were able to cancel the 4th base. Overseer here. The Banshees already doing their damage. And the Hellions potentially in the 3rd. Clem losing track of them for a moment. May kill the Queen here. Bounces her around. Ling's transferring back. Another Queen. Some drones. Clem making the most of it. And Serral doesn't have a massive drone lead here. 59-49. Even though Clem hasn't done a lot of damage, there are those 3 CCs. Upgrade's going to be starting about similar time for both sides. 18 more Zerglings on the way. 65 drones in total for Serral. Baneling speed now completed. No infestation pit yet. Looks like he wants to go for a straight-up counterattack. Spore Crawler's position to give that extra detection and zone out the Banshees, but Clem's right on the edge of it. Is there an armory yet? No. No ability for Hellbats, but softening up the 4th base. Serral rolling in towards the 3rd. Clem not reacting. And, oh no. 9 SCVs. Looking too much on the other side of the map instead of the home front here. But the Zerglings getting roasted on the way out. Kill a couple more Hellions, but actually losing a lot of Zerglings there. So 32 of them. 10 SCVs, a solid number, but definitely not gonna slow Clem down so much he has to change his strategy outright. It's going to be Marines, Mines. He's still building Hellions as well. So probably some Hellbats here momentarily as the armory completes and they go full Transformers mode. Mighty Morphin robots. And here they are, becoming biological units that can be healed by medevacs. How convenient. Don't ask how that works. Marines, combat shield done. 1-1 is not, but Serral doesn't have his upgrades either. Clem moving up. Overseer trying to move in. Just unclear. If the Banelings are able to connect, that's all that matters. But the Banelings just aren't doing it. He gets 2 medevacs of Marines out. SCV is dead again. It looks like another Baneling counterattack rolled in. Not really paying attention to either player. I think Serral queued it up. He takes some damage back at home. The Banshees were repaired. I love it. Side note. And join up with the rest of the army on the left flank. Serral, Justlings and Banes to deal with this. Loses a couple Queens. Frenchman knows all about killing the Queens. Meanwhile, Zerglings, Banelings, but Marines picked up at the last moment. Using the Hellbat to tank the Banelings. Looking, oh my god, he drops them into the perfect slot to funnel the Zerglings in between the mineral line. And Serral struggling to actually maintain either 1, 2, 3, 4. Just targets down 4 or 5 Banelings. And suddenly, Serral's down 15 supply. The worker count is not high enough to counteract this. The Queen's on the run. Another one down. Another one bites the dust. Yes, maybe the Banshees? No, not quite. Back into the main. Clem, keeping the pressure on. He's able to keep control of the map, much like he couldn't in the previous game. He never really got these drops rolling. But right now, Serral, well, he's at 73 drones. What Serral's very good at is damage mitigation. He may lose drones, Zerglings, but rarely does he freely lose a hatchery or production. In that case. So far, he's been able to keep enough units alive, but that may change very soon. A whole bunch of Widow Mines burrowing at the front. Zerglings trying to defuse the minefield here, drag it into the Terran army. For the most part, not finding much success. Big counterattack in towards the natural. Widow Mines will be dealt with one way or another. More Marines come down towards the third. And Lings and Banes clearing things up. 8 SCVs down. Serral is clearing up the third base yet again. And Clem is starting to lose a significant amount of the economy. Banelings burrowed in the mineral line as well. Forces scan out, but Clem noticed. I totally didn't. But these Widow Mines, speaking of burrow, one Widow Mine gonna scamper in towards the mineral line. 13 SCVs down. We'll see if the mine can avenge some of them. Serral just not paying any attention, not noticing the mines were still there, and loses 5 drones. And that puts a bit of wind back in Clem's sails. 2-2. About to be done for both sides. Infestation pit just now started. Serral, no attempt at a hive early on. Able to cancel the 4th command center out front. The Zerglings are enough, but the wall is held. More Widow Mines. More shots coming out. The Zerglings will eventually clean it up. Look at its own creep. Hard to tell the difference sometimes. Clem just keeping the pressure on, but Serral still... Oh my, how many kills on that one? Oh no. 31? 30. All at once? Oh my god. Oh no. Devastating. I only saw the blood splatter and the kill count. I thought certainly it couldn't be, but indeed it was. 31. I've never seen the personal record I've ever seen is 38 kills on Zerglings. You simply cannot fit more inside of the radius of the mine, but Clem is maximizing it. He's up 40 supply. He's headed towards the main. He's tearing apart the Zerglings. The mines are zoning out everything on the ground at the third base. Picks up again, but the hatchery. The much-needed production is taken out. The minefield is still intact. He has to keep building overseers. But Serral can't keep up with it all. Clem is whittling him down. He's got +3 attack. By the way, Serral can't even start it. Serral has ranged attack upgrades, but I don't think he has a Hydra Den. It's just for the queens, I guess, but he only has 2 queens left. 53. Oh, sweet mother of mercy. Serral getting obliterated. That Widowmine killing somewhere around 20 to 30 supply of Zerg. The rest certainly helping out as well. And Clem forcing Serral into a game of Minesweeper. The army, 11 Widowmines, 10 Marauders. Serral has 58. 58 kills will finally get enough attention to be cleaned up. Clem is just keeping him busy on all fronts. Serral has not. He tries for a counterattack here. Widowmine burrows. But the Liberators will pick off the remaining queens. Marines at the left, Marines at the back, and Marines up the center. As Clem is holding it home, for the most part. Baneling's not able to find the connections. Serral down 60 supply. Where could he even mine from? What are you talking about, Winter? There's mines everywhere. No! Clem takes game 2. Well, I'm not going to say he made it look easy. But he certainly made it look better than game 1. Just that inevitable pressure. Serral going for the Zerglings, trying to trade them for SCVs. But at the end of the day, when you trade a bunch of Zerglings for SCVs, you've also traded your own drones, in a sense, because of the way the Zerg economy works. But only Clem seems to be able to punish Serral for it's not even a mistake, but a strategic choice like that. By just keeping the pressure on and constantly making it so every Zergling on the other side of the map is one that maybe should have been defending the army. We're all tied up. 1-1. In the bottom left, Team Liquid's Clem. And in the top right, we have Serral. Basilisk Gaming, Finland. Showcased here in Atlanta. Much like the ESL NA Cups, our experience of having Europeans come show us what good StarCraft looks like. But, well, usually Clem. But, on Alkione, this map has contained some of our most dramatic games, both in this tournament and in general. Clem played Dark on this map a couple weeks ago. I think the total was around 150,000 resources lost in around 30 minutes. Which, most maps have between 150 and 200,000 resources in total. They both managed to mine that much and lose that much. Usually before a Bronze Leaguer takes their third base. Players have just gotten, specifically players like Clem, have gotten so good at grabbing every bit of economy while still keeping active on the map. I think that's the big difference between today and even maybe 5 years ago. Or about a quarter of Clem's life. But just the ability to keep up on both fronts. No longer taking a macro and a micro turn. They're both happening simultaneously. You simply cannot just be good at micro or just be good at macro to get to this level. Even though you think of Clem as this micro god, he is just incessant about the marine production, about constantly setting up his base in a way that makes it hard for the Zerg to even get close. Meanwhile, Serral, of course. But not actually, the definitive characteristic of that game was not dealing with the mines. I can't remember the last time. Oh, I probably can. But seeing a Widowmine get 50 kills in 2 hits, that is certainly a cause for significant outcry in the comments. if not a desperate situation in Zerg versus Terran. Thing is, many of the times we see mines used against Serral, well, Serral uses them right back against you, as they can be a massive, high-risk, high-reward strategy against players like Serral, as those Zerglings can easily draw the mines in toward the clump of Marines. It's just Clem is on top of it. No, bounces the Queen, and didn't manage to, or attempt to block the third. He's just gonna run by, thinking about it, but the Zerglings reveal themselves split second too early, and that means he's able to back off. I don't think he was gonna go for it either way. You gotta threaten it. You gotta... I could, though. I could. I won't, but I could. Always important to keep that question mark there. Layers on the way. Rather quick. Probably, well, brooches this time around for Serral. Cloak Banshee. Banshee making even more of a resurgence. Banshee never went away as an early game, Terran style. It's like long hair for people like myself. I've tried it, didn't work out, but it's always going to be in style at some point. Okay, it just trends in and out, but we're back with Banshees, I think, here early on. We saw a big Gabe, Hero Marine for the uninitiated, using him to great effect, but it's just so consistent. There is no other unit, well, I guess besides the Battlecruiser, but the Battlecruiser is a massive investment. No other unit that reliably hits ground from the air. So essentially you negate or at least severely weaken any sort of early all-ins just by having the Banshee. The trade-off, as these Hellions will get killed, is that you don't get the Overlord clearing of Vikings, you don't get the direct potential damage of a Liberator, which is a little cheaper as well. And medevac timings, well, are always a bit gimmicky. So the Banshees, still, especially for players like Clem, who are going to maximize it, a staple tool of that early game. Infestation Pit already on the way. Serral not going to be caught without a hive. Again, as clearly that late game tech, Hydras, not Hydras, but instead Vipers, and maybe even Ultras. Okay, yes, Hydras. Sorry. Hydra was dead on the way. But without that late game tech, or Infestors even, Clem, if you can't pin them down, you can't knock them out. Marines at the choke point of a watchtower. Always a sticking point on this map. The roaches scampering up, looking for something. Oh god, the dance begins. So Serral does have the vision, but only if he goes to the side of the watchtower. Creates for some interesting exchanges. A lot less interesting for the Zerg if any siege tanks are involved. Banshees dart in. Queen spotted on the right side of the map means Clem is pretty much free to work on the left with the medevacs. A scan, though, into the main. He won't see, just barely, will not see the lurker down. But he will see the hive timing. Combat shield quite late here overall. Does he have an armory? He does, but no 2-2 started for Clem. So, a bit behind on his potential upgrades, but Serral still behind that. Not even done with 1-1 yet. Banshee's driving back the ground army. Force the queens up. We got 5 Hydras, 2 Vipers on the way. 8 minutes. And Hive Tech is already coming online. But the Zerglings, they get into the natural. And Clem scrambling back with most, if not all, of his army. Serral buying himself a lot of time at the beginning of Hive to really establish it. Just that 30 seconds here is going to be the difference, I think, between this bush hitting A devastating timing, and Serral having enough money and some lurkers. Or enough energy on the Vipers, that is, and some lurkers ready. Just those few seconds, he came back. Means that Serral builds up, and now with the lurkers... Oh, Clem is trying to It's 4 lurkers, though. The Vipers have enough energy for Blinding Cloud, and he's certainly not afraid to use it. Maybe he'll abduct, yanks into the tanks. A permanent Blinding Cloud. Death. That was pretty hardcore. Meanwhile, did he burrow some Zerglings? Burrow is not done. We're still Zergling. In the natural, some at the 3rd. Vipers consuming more energy out of that hatchery. We now have seismic spines, lurker range, as well as adaptive talons now on the way. +2 ranged attack, and carapace. For Serral. +2 armor for Clem. Significantly faster than +2 attack here. He's got his Ghost Academy started, but Serral overall has the advantage in tech. It's going to be a while until Clem is able to have the unit composition to deal with this easily. One thing Clem has done is drive the creep spread back. He's kept him at bay. He's kept Serral from really being able to set up counterattacks easily. Yes, there were those Zerglings, but all the lurkers are still stuck at home. You could only... I don't even think Flash could micro against that many lurkers with just Marines. The lurkers burrowing. So this is Serral trying to get rid of his Roach Ravager without just throwing it away. Now it still feels like he threw it away, but does free up some supply. 6 Dropper Lords on the way. Operation Overlord has begun to invade the main base of the Frenchmen. These Roaches and Ravagers stutter step down. The lurkers. A massive lurker drop will be Serral's attempt to break Clem before that Turtle Lake game. And it very well might work, as Clem is maxed out, or nearly maxed out. He's not building very many units at all. The Vikings are moving to intercept. Either he skirted the edge of this or heavily suspects it. I'm not sure if he scanned it, if he knows Serral that well, or if it just glided in a sensor tower range, but he spots it. So he's going to be able to shut down the Overlords. And the lurkers just dropping out awkwardly, shamefully. Well, better than getting caught in the Ovies here, but... what can they do now? The mineral wall. 10 minerals. Far too much to pass through. It hasn't been taken down. I think Serral just hoping, maybe, that he had done so. He could send a couple drones down there, I guess, but... unlikely to... Well, he no longer has the element of surprise, and is now breaking out with his lurkers. The rocks in the center of the map. Vikings will take out an Overseer. Nidus Network on the way, an alternative method of trying to get those lurkers in the base. But Clem has shut it down. He's denied his visa so far. We'll see how long he can continue to do so. 4 or 5 more command centers in production. The CC per minute begins to raise. We may very well reach over 1 command center per minute. As right now, Clem has 7 of them and is building 4 more at the 12-minute mark. The lurker. The dance. The mineral wall is opened up. It should be cleaned up here. But who gets the jump on who? This is just a bio army. Which means, well, with some siege tanks on the high ground, using a blinding cloud, Serral decides against it. Doesn't want to get caught at the watchtower. Another blinding cloud. Not quite enough. He needs the lurkers to actually engage that army. He's not going to be able to do it with Hydraling Bane. Off a creep with siege tanks in support. The most obvious... well, with the Nidus coming out. Well, Banelings rolling in. Changelings attempting to go for the block. 6 command centers at a time. Yanks the tank down. Even moves the Banes back so they don't crash into it. Blinding Cloud, but a backstop planetary there. He has a planetary concave. Aren't planets convex? 3 more command centers on the way. He's just... he's playing campaign Terran. Brutal Zerg on the other side, but... it's easily double-digit command centers. He's just going to have... well, most of them are turning into orbital commands, of course. So that way he always has a couple of them ready. And of course, if he's able to get another base, more mules, drops the Nidus on top of the siege tank in safe range. Oh, well, I guess minimum firing distance is more accurate than safe range, because certainly not so safe. And the medevac's coming back to defend. But Serral didn't notice for a little too long. The Vipers wandering into the turrets. Oh, no. Costly mistake, but Clem comes back with the Liberators and the tanks, and he cleans up the Nidus. Meanwhile, with that base being mostly abandoned here, oh my god, okay, he gets it. He gets the planetary. Serral has 110 Zerglings in production. But will that be enough to break? There's the Infestor. That's what we were leading up to. That's how I was winding up. Just trust. Whole big thing. But he has the Serral Fester. What was his name? Thaddeus? I forgot the last name. He was mumbling underground, so it's hard to... Serral. With 90 Zerglings and... oh, how? How does he avoid these scans? He just knows. Caduceus reactors on the way. After advanced ballistics, doubling the medevac energy regen, which certainly could come in handy as time goes on. Zerglings looking for the massive surround, but not finding it. The ghosts are able to retreat back. And another planetary will be smashed. Serral has decided this is the base that he will hammer Clem on. He's given up the north side. He's given up 4 bases, but Serral still maintains more money in the bank. And if he can deny this southern side of the map, well, that's 3 bases that Clem won't be able to access. The idea will be to bleed him out via those bases. Another Nidus, Vikings on deck. Clem gets the Changeling as well. Liberator over the top. All the mech units coming in to participate. And knocks out the Nidus before it can unburrow. Another Infestor on the way. Serral unloading the Nidus at home. That Infestor is still waiting for its opportunity. Clem, how many ghosts on the field? We only got 6 of them, but 13 Liberators against just 12 Hydras. He's got 3 Vipers, but the Liberators are going to keep Serral very busy here, especially considering they have advanced ballistics for that extra range. The revolving door of Liberators, and at some point, Corruptors are required. Technically, you can abduct the Liberators into Hydra range, but that is not... This takes an inordinate amount of attention, time, energy, and isn't even a particularly reliable way of dealing with them. Usually, if there's 1 or 2 Liberators, it's fine, but Clem has double digits right now. Serral, I mean, he does have a Spire. In fact, he's making it great again. The Greater Spire plus 7k, 5k in the bank. You know what? I think he's got a little bit of leeway here. But Clem has used all this. The overlapping sensor towers. What is the units lost? Serral's lost 5,000 more minerals. 2,000 more gas. He yanks in another Liberator. Will knock it down with the Hydras. Loses a Viper, though. More Banelings rolling in. He's going for... The planetaries are just far enough apart that the Banelings can't hit both simultaneously. And he actually keeps the planetary on the back line near his base. And Serral again, not finding the resounding success he was looking for. Instead, a middling one at best. 6 Liberators on the way simultaneously. He's going up towards like 20 Liberators. At some point, Serral is going to require Corruptors. He has none on the field right now. Another wave is building up. He just finished up more Banelings. There are only 13 of them. Not really enough. Especially with high-sec auto-tracking. Serral still has the Infestor waiting. Just patrolling back and forth. Scouting Infestor. Meanwhile, another Nidus taken out. Attacked Nidus up to the north side. making sure nothing burrowed. Well, speaking of burrowed, lurkers outside the 4th base. And Clem? Well, these lurkers are starting to make some progress. Serral still has a lot to lean on. Another Overseer coming in. Another Nidus is laid down. Blinding clouds. That's way too many siege tanks. Throws a couple snipes out. Lands on a Hydra. But the Nidus is done. Lurkers will get behind the mineral line here. The planetary might be able to deal with it. But anything to keep Clem busy. We're continuing to scale up the attacks on both sides. Serral escapes back into the Nidus with all but one lurker. Liberator covering the other one, but the Zerglings just run underneath. Right on top of the siege tanks. Takes out another. Does he have adrenal glands? Yes. +3. Melee's on the way. We're filling out the upgrade tree here as well. Clem already has 3/3 for his bio units. +2 mech weapons, +1 ship weapons, and +2 vehicle plating. Where Serral's about to finish +3 melee. He already has ranged and carapace. +2 flyer attack. He is closing in soon as well. So here we go, lining up for another round. Another Nidus, a fully upgraded Zerg. The Liberators, a Venn diagram of freedom, raining down on the Hydras, but the Banelings are just rolling through. Siege tanks taking big bites out of them, but Zerglings clear out the rest. Just casually right-clicks and tries to roll out here, but the Liberator's popping them on the way out. How many Liberators? 15 Liberators on the field, 98 Zerglings in production, a dozen Corruptors as well. Oh my, Clem. How many command centers? He's lost half a dozen. He still has 12 on the field. He's building several more. And now this is an army that is incredibly tough to beat. We got Ghosts, we got Liberators, Vikings overhead can knock down the Vipers. What does Serral have to deal with this? Where is the Infestor? Thaddeus. When we needed him most, he vanished. The Zergling's trying to chase it down. And Liberators picks up the Corruptors, but that's so many Vikings. The Zergling's just gonna look to surround the base. The Infestor. Hey, he's not gonna waste on SCVs. 21 SCVs down, but the Liberators on both sides have racked up 13 drone kills simultaneously. God, that Liberator has 10 kills up to the north side. Looks like Serral tried to expand there. It wasn't happening. The Infestor. Serral, he still has money in the boat. Look, he is playing. It is, you really have to adjust your thinking. It's not about winning or losing in these battles. It's really about the balance sheet. And I'm not trying to make a pun there, but instead, how much is left? Where did it even come from? The Infestor gets a fungal. I still don't know where it is. The Corruptors are cleaning things up. It looks like it died for the cause. The Corruptors are zoning out the Liberators, which means Serral underneath. Somehow a fungal came through, but the most important units, the Ghosts and the Liberators, for the most part, survive. Serral loses a significant amount in that last fight. Actually, can we get the Clem over the last 4 minutes? They haven't stopped fighting. 15.5 thousand minerals and 5,000 gas kill. Serral only 8,700, 3,400. So it's tilting towards the French Terran. Serral currently has enough money in the bank to refill his army, but he's decided not to. Is it gonna be Ultralisks? It feels almost too late for Ultras at this stage of the game. But one big attack with a couple good fungals. He shied away from the Ultras this whole time. I wonder what made him change his mind, and I hope it's not desperation. But Clem keeps standing his ground. And Serral keeps being unable to push him off it. The banks are drawing more and more even. Clem is reliably retaking his bases. The reason he built so many command centers earlier was not because he thought he needed them now, but eventually Serral would smash one, then another, and another. He's taken out 4, 7, 8 command centers, which would be a huge deal if Clem didn't have a dozen more. So he was planning for the future there. 4 ultras on the way for Serral. An infestor still waiting for its moment. Does it have any kills? Even if it is quite hard, since the nerf to fungal especially. The latest... Oh, he just burrowed Widow Mines. I didn't even know you could do that. I thought it would give like an error or something. They burrowed directly on it. Oh, that was a sad ending. You get a Widow Mine burrowed on your face and see how you feel at the end of it. All right? Ghost Viking. He's given up on the Liberators for the most part, and is going Mass Viking, which seems quite vulnerable to Corruptor Viper, but Clem's making it work so far. Corruptor Baneling, we're really kind of distilling these unit compositions down to their purest form. Ultraling Bane Corruptor against Ghost Medevac Viking. There's a few infestors. Ooh, one gets taken out by a mine. An Ultraless shot down. And, well, the Vikings are in autumn colors right now. Another fungal. Corruptors chasing in. More Banelings rolling up. Doesn't even have detection. The Ghost will cloak. Recognizing the situation, and with all those Vikings, how do you get detection? The Corruptors are being shot down. +2 ship weapons and +3 plating. And +3 ship weapons is about to finish. Clem knows how important air support is. He keeps scanning across the board to see where Serral's expanded. Serral is running out of money. He still has a larger bank, but that is becoming less and less relevant as he loses more and more in these fights. Again, another battle where Clem destroyed almost twice as many resources. 140 Zerglings and counting. In total, it's 700. Not including the Banelings, which aren't even tallied correctly in the units lost. As when a Baneling attacks, it succeeds. Isn't lost. It's pretty dark, but... Ooh. It's killed by a Widowmine, though. And trying to close in, but the Overseers are all dead. The Ghosts just pull back. And the Ultras have nothing to attack. All the Ghosts are cloaked. The Liberators are pin-cushioning everything on the ground. And Clem, he loses a lot of the extraneous units. Silly things like Marines, SCVs, some of the mines. That went a little better for Serral. He's killed 20 Vikings in this last battle. 33 overall. So Clem, actually, okay. Well, Clem's running out of money himself. This is what Serral was playing for. He was playing to have one more base, and then Clem runs out of money. Or, well, something around that. Knowing Serral, it was exactly one base, but now Clem really needs that base in the bottom right. Serral has the hatchery in the top left. Oh my god, the infestor. Thaddeus will unburrow in the fungal of his career! But the medevacs are saved! And the Ghosts may be able to escape, but at what cost? The Ultras, the Corruptors. The Corruptors are clearing out the Liberators. Clem is being cleaved by the blades of the Ultras. And the Ghosts may line up a few shots on the way out, but the Corruptors have cleared out the Liberators. And Clem is down to 100 supply. Serral not doing too much better. His bank is exhausted. And I'm sure both players must be as well. But Clem still has one base to mine from. There's always another infestor. The rule of Serral. In this case, there's several more. It looks like simultaneously, Clem got a tank finally in the range. Another fungal. EMP's on the ground and hits the infestors underneath. Kills more. Serral gave up on smashing that base to the left, but cannot afford to allow Clem to have any more. Clem's at 73 supply. 9 SCVs! But that means his army is... another Widowmine kills an infestor. The Ghost's on the run. Serral's closing in. He's got the Ultras, the Zerglings, and for once he has detection. Has to pull back and regroup. But what does Clem even have left? He's got 9 Widow Mines, 2 Liberators, 4 tanks, 6 Ghosts, up against 5 Ultralisks. A Lurker, still up here in this top corner. Clem has nothing left. And by nothing, I mean some of the best units you could possibly have, but not nearly enough of them. Drops a wave of mules. Serral can't even let these return these. Serral barely has any mineral patches himself. The way he's been playing, he's mined 15,000 more resources, and he's lost more than that. At least more than Clem. The mines will fire a pretty costly 9 drones down, not that he needs them. Serral unable to max out. The mules are mining here. Oh, the Widow Mines! The Widow Mines! Serral not handling it well. The Zergling count thins out dramatically. 49 Zerglings down. And the mules go back to mining. If it was anyone else, I'd be holding up a yellow card saying, well, I guess you still have mules. But it is Clem. So... And so much of it is army supply. That is why Serral is being so careful about this, as he knows how dangerous this army can be. The Corruptors with caustic spray. And trying to save the orbital. Looks like he may very well do so. Down to 7 SCVs. The Infestor unburrows. It gets a fungal. Gets 1 more ghost out of it. But the Widow Mines and the tanks around the corner. Serral just not factoring them in. The Corruptors may get the orbital, but the building armor. And a mule drop to repair. Trying to line up the shots. Serral loses another Ultra. There's still 8 orbitals. Clem built up that bank of orbitals earlier. It might have cost him some of his army, but he's certainly not complaining now. The map. There's one... Well, Clem has 2 bases he still has a mine from on what is technically his side of the map. But can he mine from either? How is there another Infestor? Oh my god, it gets obliterated before it gets a fungal. But 1 ghost gets chopped to pieces. The Banelings come in and kill a few of the remaining SCVs. Clem is actually rebuilding SCVs. But Serral's down to 86 supply. He can't kill him. Serral has been unable. Clem held a little too strongly. And Serral was unable to refill that one last time that he desperately needed. And now, at over 1,000 Zerglings lost, Serral, he's running out of options. He's still ahead on supply. But army supply is dead even. And some of it's in Corruptors, which are not a terrible unit to have. Technically, you could build Broods, but there are still ghosts on the field. 4 of them. Clem is now mining. How much did Serral leave him? Most of it. Only mined a couple hundred. The mules are mining. Clem will take an income lead in a significant fashion for the first time in most of the game. Serral has expanded to the bottom right. Clem is sending out a medevac. Now we're acting once again. Well, while the mid-game might be fought with massive max supply armies, the end game will be fought with Marines and drones. But there's an Infestor! But an Infestor alone will not be enough. It pops out. Clem dodges it into the medevac. Will drop out the Marines. They will die. But he made them work for it. Clem takes the supply lead. This is what Serral was trying to stop. He was trying to keep him from mining. He knew he would lose more. Unfortunately, it's possible he's lost too much. Serral's lost 62,000. 81,000 resources. We're approaching that 150k mark. Approaching the very limits of how many resources there are on the entirety of the map. And there's an infestor. There's always another infestor. But this time, with one of his 8 orbitals, he scans. And now Serral's forced on defense. And Ultra! Chewing through the mineral line. But siege tanks are more than enough to hold it. The Ultra does pull back in time. Serral is mining again. And the tank gets saved. There's still some Widow Mines out there. How many ghosts? 4 ghosts. He's had 46 Marines. He's reliant on those mineral-based units. He's barely found any gas lately. The Ultras. Infestor's gonna look to fungal. Miss the mark. Does not want to risk them. It's only Marauders here. There's no anti-air. Pulls back to the Widow Mines. The dance. Ultra's trying to come in from the north, clearing up a mine. Gonna take a lot of damage, though. The infestors! Oh my god. And the Widow Mine drives the point home. He goes Stike. There's so much bio back there. Oh my god, Serral is crumbling. A whole army out of nowhere. Serral taken aback. And his Ultras are all that are left. That's not nearly enough to deal with this. Clem rebuilt and successfully hit it. Baited Serral into a fateful attack and smashed him. And now what? There's nothing left. He's not mining. He has no drones. The army is 9 Corruptors, 3 Ultras, a few handfuls of Zerglings. Caustic Spray activates before he's able to lift, so he may be able to take out an orbital, but Clem still has 8 of them. There's more. There's another infestor. Clem scanning across the board. And Serral with a pale comparison to what he once had. The infestors in the scan. EMP'd. There's that one more on the back line. He's got to use it. You don't have time to wait anymore. He pops it up. He gets a fungal. Is it enough? No. Clem has done it. He brought it back from down 80 supply, where it was borderline, almost bad-mannered. I will say, a few less supply, and you'd have to ask why he's still in the game. Well, I think we found a reason. Clem, in one of the most hard-fought, literally less than 100 minerals apiece games, at the end, will take it and take the lead versus Serral, up 2-1. He bent, certainly, but he did not break. The confidence in his micro. And Serral, it felt like he the one thing, maybe, that we didn't see. Broodlords. Broodlords, at the end of the day. But Broodlords suffer from pretty much all the same weaknesses Ultralists do. Just have a little bit more success against Mass Siege Tank and Widowmine. Broodlords are still countered by 25 Vikings and any amount of Ghosts, which Clem was more than happy to build, even though there weren't... Well, I think as soon as he saw any Corruptors, he made sure Broodlords were never, ever going to be an option by building a Scandinavia of Vikings. Just 25 of them, I think, at some point. Just an obscene number. They eventually get cleared out, but by that point, Serral didn't really have the economy to go for that Infestor Broodlord composition. So Clem recognized it wasn't over when Serral kept throwing Zerglings at him, especially, I think. God, it's got to be demoralizing, though, going down to 70 supply. Going down to less SCVs than you started the game with? It's certainly not an ideal scenario. But here we are. 2-1 Clem. First Reaper. Reaper. He's blocking the third. This is just offensive. The dance. Both players bringing a worker along. Oh, he gets it. When does it end? We're gonna bring 2-3 SCVs next time. Just build the barracks on location. I wouldn't put it past them. Engineering bay blocks are still very much a thing in TVP. The Reaper still sharking around. Not picked off. 8 Zerglings on the way. A bit more than you'd expect. Will Serral go for the backstab again? Wow. Going for a 3-2-1-1. Clem bringing out the double medevac Stim Marine build. Ah, yes. A classic tactic. A vintage strategy. But still effective to this day, as Marines have not gotten any changes throughout the entirety of Legacy of the Void. Except somewhat indirectly by Stimpack being reduced in build time slightly. Some years ago. From about 114 to 100 seconds. Marines take out the scouting OV. Will Serral see? He sees the reactored... Okay, he sees the reactored factory. Which is not perfect info, but should be good enough to let him know exactly what's going on. Well, not exactly. But give him a good idea of what's going on. The timing of the factory and the reactor is a bit of a giveaway. He gets a few more drones, but we should be seeing roaches momentarily. If not, the Marines could do inordinate amounts, oh my god, of damage. They do a terrible damage. There, better. He's building a lot of drones. 3 roaches now. How many queens on the field? 7. And double medevac. Here we go. Beyond looking on, nodding his head. Attaboy. Alright, double medevac headed in. The queens looking to ward it away. Enough energy for some transfuses. 3 Zerglings, or 3 Marines, not enough to stop these Zerglings at the wall. So Clem going to have to micro on both sides. Takes out a queen. Meanwhile, losing some SCVs at home. They're just a handful of Zerglings. I take it back. He actually microed the SCVs perfectly and didn't lose any more than the ones they were able to pick off initially. Just casually micros back the herd SCVs. But Serral is at 63 drones. He's got 4 bases on the way. Or 4 bases done. And, well, the +1 upgrades. Only +1 carapace. So Clem will have the upgrades. Serral rushing Hive again. Knows he needs those late game options to deal with Clem. And I tend to agree with him on that point. Roach is being added on as the hive starts. More overlords are gonna get picked off. Surprised there are so many wandering around out there. Vulnerable, but Marines dropped off. Hive tech halfway done. Infester on the way. And 1-1 completed for Clem. Does he have that armory? Indeed he does. Can start 2-2. He sees the roaches. He's got a second factory in order to maximize the siege tank count. He's been using those factory units to great effect. Siege tanks and widow mines have been staples of Clem's gameplay here, making it very hard for Serral to find any angles. Hive is nearly done. So really prioritizing those Vipers over anything else. And of course, Infestors. 1,000 gas in the bank as Hive finishes. What's it gonna be for, Serral? Adrenal glands. This base could be targeted down. The Infestor throws a fungal. It's far. The projectile is fast, but it's not fast enough. Gets those Marines into the medevacs. Another drop over to the right flank. Picks up and drops out. Vipers on the way. Serral starting to bleed out some Zerglings. Not able to get that 5th base up. The Zerglings aren't enough here. Melee attack level 1 not yet completed. Stutter stepping back. More Zerglings shot down. The Infestor looking for an opportunity. Oh, he wants it so bad, but he's just not going to get it. 10 Marines to 54 Zerglings so far. That's quite a KD ratio from Clem. Let alone, they've also killed 2 Queens, a Roach, a few Overlords. But the efficiency here is just unrivaled. Ultralisk on the way. Clem dropping up towards the north side. Small counterattack to the south. Clem's also holding with some Marines over to the left. Fungal finally lands. Big group of Marines connected. Serral is maxed out. Pre-cancels. Not getting this base. The Queens are getting chased down here. And Clem darts into the natural. Spots an Ultra popping out. There's already 2 tanks in production at a time. Ghost Academy on the way. Surprised it wasn't already online. So maybe a point of weakness here. The Ultras could find connections. But he still has so many. There's 9 siege techs. And plenty of Marauders being added in. Meanwhile, though, army on the right flank. The tanks, the Vipers. Blinding Cloud could be incredibly effective here. Parasitic Bomb, Blinding Cloud. Making things very difficult for Clem. Has to retreat. The tanks are not siege. The Ultras are closing in. No reason to stop moving now. Takes a lot of damage on the medevacs. Knocks down Liberator on the way out. But just backs off. Serral. Not gonna bite off more than he can chew. Knows that Clem has that position there. 5+ tanks sieged up. With a couple more Blinding Clouds, he might be able to break it. But Clem will have Ghosts by the time the next round of Vipers, or the next energy for the Vipers, is completed. Infestors underground. 5 command centers at a time. Clem already sprinting to the late game, using all his minerals past 200 supply on command centers. Not willing to be left with no opportunities. The base, I think he realized there was a sensor tower, so waits an extra moment. But the Vipers, Parasitic Bomb, backline, plenty of tanks. Gonna try to smash this base. Here comes Serral. Ghost lining it up. The Banelings rolling in, deleting the command center. But the Bio Army was kept in reserve. Yet again, able to gun down an Ultra. Clem maintains a solid supply. The Infestor's waiting for its moment. But Clem still has more supply than Serral. In army here, 91 to 67 workers will do that. 4 more command centers on the way. He's going up to 10 or 11 at the 11-minute mark, looking to break his previous record last game. The Infestor at point-blank range here. No turrets rebuilt, or built at all. Oh, he found one. Oh, the scan hits him. He loses the Infestor. Serral dealing with the Liberator on the other side. Liberators on both sides. No, wait, I take it back. 3 Liberators simultaneously. Clem just keeping Serral so busy right now, and still repositioning the Liberators. The Ultras and Lings come back, but there's nothing they can do here. Medevac's dropping out. This is more of a viable target. But Serral loses 11 drones. Another Liberator sieges up. The Spore Crawler gets 2 Vipers, gets half a dozen drones. Add to the count. 20 down. Those 2 Vipers were a massive pickoff. And Clem puts a hatchery on top like a cherry on the cake of this strategy. And he lets Serral eat it. Oh, Clem is running Serral around the map. And Serral just looks almost... I've never seen Serral look more lost. He's ahead. He has a larger bank. He has a solid army. But Serral can't seem to get anything going. These attacks are costly. Where's the Infestor? There's always another Infestor. It's just right there. The staple strat. But what do you even fungal? It dives immediately to the siege tanks. Here come the Ultras. The Ghosts are lining up their shots at the top of the ramp. There's a zoning planetary and the rest of the bio army. We'll chase it down. 3-3 about to complete. Clem will be fully upgraded. He keeps 2/3 of his army back. Waits until he commits. And, oh, Serral just bashed some Banelings into rocks. At least it sounded like that. Adding a few more in. But that one fungal doesn't seem to be enough. Clement just is not committing enough of his army to anywhere it can get fungal. Losing 10-15 supply is bad, but it feels like Serral has to spend more than that just getting close. Well, he's got the Ultras. Up against Mass Planetary. There are 4 planetary, 7 orbitals. More command centers on the way. And again, we're locked down here. A scan, clearing up some creep. Ultralists jockeying for position here. Viper, blinding cloud on the planetary and a tank. Ghost find an angle to get some shots off, but get jammed back. The Ultras are closing in. Serral will take out the planetary, but at what cost? He's refilled already. 84 Zerglings. Another 4 Ultras going down in that fight. He did kill 5 Ghosts. Serral is, well, he's decided on the Ultras this game. We're not bothering with the Lurkers. On Alcyone, the Lurkers were the attempt, and eventually the Ultras, the desperate late game. But here, the Ultras are the choice. But another base goes down. The Infestor! He scans forward. That Infestor waiting for an opportunity, but Clem already working his way back. 4 medevacs with 2 medevacs units heading towards the main to the north side. Serral scrambles back to defend. Clem keeping him busy. Clem doesn't have money in the bank. He keeps building... He built so many command centers. And he keeps... Well, he keeps building them. He has 8 orbitals, 3 planetaries. He's lost 3 command centers so far. So not quite 20 in this match so far. Ultralists. Advanced ballistics. Oh my god, the fake! He faked which medevacs had units. Kept Serral busy. I think they died a parasitic bomb though, right? No, my god. One medevac gets out. Still has 8 Marines in it or so. Corruptors finally joining the field to help knock down those liberators. But the Marines will drop out for one last battle. Gonna take down the drone. And he gets out. Viper, parasitic bomb used. Seems like overkill, but that's better than no kill. Clem clearing up the creep. Infestor throws out 2 fungals. Pretty much whiffs both. Gets a ghost or 2. Serral is building that bank, and this time maybe a switch into Broodlords after wiping out the anti-air. Could be the answer. Neither player willing to budge on this. Clem playing a patient flavor of Terran that he hasn't been known for in the past, but clearly it is working. As Serral, for 2 games in a row now, has found himself at the late game with the best units and the most upgrades, unable to really make any meaningful progress. And again, here we are. Serral losing over 50% more, almost 50% more minerals, as well as 2,500 more gas. There are less bases on this map. The command centers, oh my god. Something at 25, 30 command centers. Caduceus reactor on the way. Serral has just decided he's gonna sit back and build up and wait for Clem to come to him. He stopped attacking. He stopped pressing the issue. Will he attack another base, or has he decided that Clem must come to his side of the map? Clem kept Serral so busy that he wasn't able to get much done. Before Clem had this... Oh my god. He walked into the turret, but here comes Serral. The Vipers, parasitic bombs on some Liberators, not finding too much success there. Banelings trickling through. But the concave of tanks and the firing line of ghosts is more than enough to turn Serral around. And again, Clem, most of his army in reserve. The Ultras picked off on the way out. Snipes catch him as well. 14 Corruptors on the way. He's gonna try the Broodlord switch. But there are 17 ghosts on the field. And as the Ultras come up to deal with the bio, the ghosts line up their shots on the Ultras. Knocking down more and more and more, hitting some Banelings. I think he's just hitting whatever he can here. Unloading those ghost rifles. Still plenty of energy. A just wave of mules. A loot drop there. As Clem, he's been hurting for minerals, but with that victory, he claims a new base. And with that base, he drops the mules. Now we see the income shooting towards Clem for the first time in a long time. Serral has taken the bottom left corner. Clem is moving. He's slowly but surely slicing the map in half. And Serral's getting crowded out. Clem, I am unwilling to consider Serral ahead at 200 supply based on these last 2 games. There are 9 turrets on the way, making sure the Infestor has nowhere to slink by. Advanced bullet. Oh my god. The Liberator can fire from here. Serral hadn't even mined out this northern base. Clem is pushing him off of it. Not a single Widow mine this game, I don't think. All siege tanks and Liberators here. Navigating the ups and downs of Oceanborn. A lot of choke points A lot of difficult locations to move those ultras around. The Widow Mines no longer needed to clear those large groups. The siege tanks have been more than enough. Serral, 5,100, 2,500 in the bank, but Clem is building up his own. How many Vipers? There are 2 Vipers. The overlapping Liberators. Oh my god. High-sec auto-track. I don't know if he can cover. He has something repairing. Here comes the Viper. Gets a beautiful fungal. But picked up as the fungal ends. Kills a lot of the ghosts. Looks like he may very well clear this area. Knocks out some of the Liberators. Serral does find at least some breathing room. Ultras and Lings. A few Banes mixed in. Serral, I think, unwilling to commit to the Broodlord switch until ideally he's able to clear out more of the ghosts. But practically, that seems like a difficult ordeal. There are 13 Liberators, 16 ghosts, a smattering of other units left over, like this Marauder and some medevacs. And here comes Serral. But through these streets of the command centers here, it's going to be hard to maneuver those units. Lines up more shots. Serral, more Ultras, more Corruptors, more Lings, more Banes. How many Lings lost? Only 500 this time. 17 Ultralisks. There's what I am convinced is an accidental Cyclone. We've seen it from Clem so many times, but he finds a use for it behind the mineral line. Clem trying to expand to the north side. Serral mined a bit of it. Oh, there's too cute of a Zergling. Hold your emotional support, Zerglings. They'll need it. Maybe turn them away. The Corruptors closing in. Looking to knock out the Liberators. No real defense. Here come the Ghosts. The Vikings. Clem, perpetually lower in the bank, but his army. Serral has now lost 37 to 22,000 minerals and 11.7 to 8.7 thousand gas. The efficiency, in total, 20,000 more resources. Nearly double. But, oh my god, he finally got the fungal. He finally found the ghosts in the center of the map. Six ghosts. The infestor spotted them. Didn't even spot them necessarily, but did clear them up. They're slaughtered. It's good to see. I thought we should get another look at it. We may never see it again. Planetary backstopping yet again. Liberator siege up. Ghost lineup. And Clem tears away more of the Zerg and claims the north side of the map for the Terrans. Ship weapons level 2. About to go. Oh, this is not a good sign. Serral, long distance mining with what drones he has. More Lings and Banes. Oh, good fungal. Can he chain it together? He picks them up and he gets them out, but that means no ghosts for Snipe for quite a while. The Ultras are moving in. The Planetary will be taken out, but that gives an opportunity for the Ghosts to line up their shots and wipe out a wave of Ultralisks. And even though he killed the Planetary, drawing aggro from the Ultras and keeping them focused, the Planetary's not dying over here either. Another set of snipes. The Ultras just implode on the field. Another fungal, not finding the target, and GG! Clem has done it! He has dethroned the king in one of the most decisive defeats that I've ever seen of Serral. And by that I mean, he didn't even really get defeated. He just ran out of money over an hour in those 2 games. But still, a defeat nonetheless. Clem withstands the Zerg and drives them back. The Ghost Liberator style, just immensely cost-effective. And Clem with a level of patience I've never seen from him before. It earns him one of the most hard-fought victories and dramatic series in StarCraft 2 history. An exhausting one, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. A significant chunk of it. I don't know how... Oh, that was quite a series. Thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. So, be awesome if you could do that, at least. Either way. And also, check out recommended autoplay. It's a huge deal, according to YouTube themselves. Makes it seem like you want to watch more than one video. Anyways, thank you for making it this far. I hope I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. And did somebody call for an exterminator? Stay chill.